T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
It's your Manchester. Please welcome your hosts, Belinda Scandal and Carol Ann Whitehead.
Well, a very good evening to each and every one of you, and welcome to this week's episode of
You're a bit excited.
Manchester. I am excited.
You're a little bit excited.
We're in our purple.
We are in our purple. Why are we in our purple? Tell people what you're wearing.
I'm wearing a sash. I feel like, do you know the character in Mary Poppins? That's the suffragette.
Yes.
I feel
Mrs. Banks.
Mrs. Banks. I feel like Mrs. Banks today, everybody.
Right.
I really do. Although my hair looks like the chimney sweep. But
Step in line.
step in line. Yeah.
Well, we are celebrating International Women's Day. The theme for International Women's Day is choose to challenge. Get your hand up. Choose to challenge.
Is that the right hand?
Whichever hand, as
Okay.
long as you choose to challenge. Call out
choose to
discrimination.
I challenge that.
Yeah. Call out any kind of inequality or discrimination. And do you know what your colours stand for? This is the
Now, I
original.
wanted to ask you about this because you've put me in purple.
Yeah. Okay.
Sparkly purple. Go on, talk me through it.
So the suffragettes, the WSPU, the Women's Suffrage Political Union, I can't remember what they stand for. But the colours, the actual colours, purple for loyalty.
That's me.
And dignity.
Yes.
White for purity.
Yes.
Because a lot of them, when they did their marches, they wore white as well. And green for hope. The hope that we get the vote. And in 2018 was the 100th anniversary of women getting the vote, but only women aged 30 and above. 2028 is when all women, 100 years of all women getting the vote, and that was 1928.
It seems strange, doesn't it, to think that women are treated any lesser than men?
Yeah. But you know, it happens, and there are many placards for many marches and many walks all around the world where they have a placard and they say, same, rude word, different century, meaning we're still fighting the fight. We're still doing this again and again. It's time to stop. Yeah. It's time to basically eradicate inequalities altogether.
And this show tonight, of course, is in preparation for one that we're going to be doing on Saturday, isn't it?
Yes, it is. So on Monday is International Women's Day.
That's the 8th.
The 8th, and the whole of March is Women's History Month to celebrate the great things that women have done throughout history, because it is true that women have been written out of history. So we've got a standalone show in collaboration with NatWest and with the students of Access Creative College and the Zebra Tribe, and basically that show is a celebration of what we've done before, as in the walk for women and then the festival and that kind of thing. And we're trying to bring that online because we are still social distancing.
I was going to say, back in 2019, how was it celebrated then? What did you do for it then?
So the year before last year?
Yeah. The last year that we were able to do anything, 2019, you did a walk.
No, it was 2020.
Did you actually do something in 2020?
Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, we have a film, but we'll play it on the day because I don't think our guy in the booth will be. He'll hit me if. Well, he won't hit me.
No, he'll hit me.
Yeah. No, you don't do things like that. But basically, we have got a film. So on March the 7th, last year.
Oh, so just before lockdown.
Just before lockdown.
Well done.
Oh my goodness. So we had just over 2,000 people do the walk. And then for the festival, we took over Central Library. The Central Library team were awesome, by the way.
Yeah.
And we basically had a rolling festival for 3 hours. Music, spoken word, dancing. We had all sorts of stuff going on. And we had stalls as well, basically highlighting the fantastic things that women do. And I'm a huge advocate. Yes, we look at the women that have gone before, but I'm a massive advocate of the women that are doing things now that we can look them in the eye and go, thank you. You are standing on the shoulder of giants. And that leads us nicely on.
It does indeed.
To our first guest.
Well, let's find... First of all, tell us who we've got in the show today, then. Who we're looking forward to.
Let me clear my throat.
Well, why not?
Because it's as close to royalty as we've got. It is Professor Emma Bell MBE. She is Deputy Lieutenant for Greater Manchester, and what that means is she represents the Queen when there's any kind of official duties. She's a Justice of...
I should have worn my tiara from Bespoke.
We should have worn your tiara. She's a Justice of the Peace. She is also... she's basically a fellow of, I think, of the Rotary, but she's also as well an advocate and a community peace campaigner. And the one good thing about, well, there's lots of good things about her, but one of the things I love and completely admire, I think she thinks I'm a bit in love with her actually, is the fact that she's the first woman in 150 years to have her statue in the town hall and have it unveiled in the town hall. And the unusual thing about her statue is I think it's made from melted down bullets. And there's a reason for that, which we'll ask her about.
All right, then. So stick around, everybody. We have got a marvellous show lined up for you here tonight, only on Your Manchester. So we are, first of all, joined then by Professor... I love this. Welcome, by the way, Professor... go on, you can pronounce the first name.
Arinma.
I got it wrong before. Bring her in. I must just apologise. We've been kind of a little bit organised, but not quite. So, listed as one of the 250 most influential people in Greater Manchester. Is that correct?
You're muted.
You're muted.
I know. Yes, that's correct. And good evening, ladies. Good evening.
Good evening.
That must feel fantastic to know that you're so powerful. Well, not powerful, because powerful makes it sound like you're full of self-importance. It's not. It's more than that, isn't it? It's about doing something for Manchester, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all about the influence. I mean, it's one of those, I suppose, accolades that you get that you're not expecting to get. I actually remember when I went to the launch. Oh, actually, it was this. I've just got it on the table, actually. It was this. And I went to the launch of it because I love networking, and I like networking with different people, basically doing that linking social capital. And I thought, I'll go along, and I dragged my husband along. I said, we'll go along to see who we can meet. And I remember as I walked in, somebody said to me, I might have known you'd made the list. And I thought, what list? I was like, what list? And when I saw it, I was like, oh my word. I thought, yeah. Brill. So yes, I use that. Obviously, when you're doing certain works, there are other people that are watching you and observing what you're doing, and they're the ones that can see the influence that you're having. I think for some of us, the work, it's so close, up to our face, we can't really see what we're doing. And so it's when somebody else points it out to you. So yeah, that was great. That 250 of the, one of the 250 of the most influential people in Greater Manchester. And that was the magazine they did.
Amazing.
That's fantastic. I wasn't there.
Just hold on a minute. Just back into the sound room. Can you put the... cheers, thank you. Echo back on, thank you there. Lovely. Go on, you were saying...
I was saying I wasn't on the list, but do you know what? You probably heard me say, Arinma, that how much I admire you. So last year, for example, when I was on stage and we were doing the festival and everything, and I spotted her in the crowd. Do you remember? And I went, come on stage, come on, let's have a chat. Like we were like at home having a coffee in front of 500 people. Come and have a chat. Tell them about your statue. I did So I did an impromptu introduction about the statue, which you know
Yeah.
I'm obsessed about.
Yeah,
And
no.
there's some great pictures of us on stage, isn't there?
Yes, there is. Fantastic. Yeah.
Can
Yes.
you for the viewers that don't know, just a little bit about your journey on, because it's, you know, we're smiling and we're laughing now, but it's not funny.
No.
What happened and how
Yeah.
you've got to this point. Can you share with us, please, Arinma?
Okay. How long have we got? No. Okay. Very quickly then. It was about, I think it's about 25 years ago now. Me and my husband moved back to Manchester because we're from Manchester originally, born and bred. And we moved back up from London, you know, to try and basically just find out what was happening in our community, you know, of Moss Side and the surrounding neighborhoods, you know, with all the gun crime and the shooting. Because many a time when we came up for funerals, there were people that we knew, children of people that, you know, you'd gone to school with, or, you know, your peers. So we moved back up to try and make a difference. And I remember one night we went out just very quickly, and one of our close friends who was with us, we're all in the same car. As we got out of the car, he was, you know, tapped on the shoulder, and then 3 people just opened fire and shot him, you know, 11 times. And gun crime had never been a part of our lives until then. I mean, I was one of those people, and I know many of us did it, who, when we heard about gun crime, you know, you read about it in the paper, you watched it on the news, on the TV, and you just felt, oh, well, it happens to them. That kind of thing doesn't happen to me. I'm not involved. But that night, it became part of our lives. And cutting a long story short, we had to, contact, you know, police, you know, to find out what's happening. Now they're not investigating it. But then at the same time, you know, we had our peers and some people telling us we don't speak to police around here, calling us snitches. Our lives were threatened. You know, our house was threatened because we were speaking to the police. The police weren't speaking to us because they said, you know, they didn't know what to do. There was nothing they could do. So it took us years, really, of trying to get local community to actually own the issue and own the problem. And that wasn't easy, but that's what we had to do. And then a group of us came together and formed the group Charisma, Community Alliance for Renewal in a South Manchester area, to basically try and make a difference in our communities. And we were just fed up of being talked about and nobody consulting and talking with us. And it took us 6 years to bring gun crime to the top of the government's agenda, which finally they did, because back then they were not interested in talking about gun crime because we were told it only happens in Moss Side. It only affects Black youth. It's Black on Black crime. And
this is what you were being told?
Yes. Oh, yes. This is what we were being told by government ministers. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. We were told.
Yeah.
I mean, I've often said, if back then was now with all the Trump and his wall, they probably would have put a wall around Moss Side and kept us all in there and said it's our problem, because we were being told it was a Moss Side issue. And I was saying to the government,
it's not.
And it's not. This is one of the things we were advocating to the government, that basically the UK had a gun issue. It wasn't just about Moss Side. It was a UK issue, because this is a country where guns are illegal. And so, for example, very quickly, there was a time when a young lad, he was 14, he was arrested on the streets of Moss Side. He was arrested with a weapon, a Kalashnikov weapon. I can now say the word. I couldn't say it then. A Kalashnikov weapon. The police did forensics on that weapon, and that weapon had been used in the Bosnia War. And so we were saying to the government, now how does a weapon that has been used in the Bosnia War end up not only in the hands of a 14-year-old, but on the streets of inner city Manchester? And basically, how did it get into the UK? And I can tell you, and you know, logics will tell you, it was not a 14-year-old that smuggled that weapon into the UK. That was being done by adults.
I wish we had more time with you, Arinma. Really do. And this is the thing why I wanted you on, just for this snippet, so that you could share what your journey is, and there's lots more to it, because I could get her back for Whitehead files, couldn't I?
Get her back for a Whitehead files.
Yeah, and I'll email you about the Whitehead files, but I can get you back for a Whitehead files, so that you can talk about this whole story, because people want to know, and you've come a whole arc, and you have definitely made a difference. I know, because I've followed it right through, so I know you've definitely made a difference. And just that snippet, the fact that the forensics took it back to knew it came from Bosnia, and there is a process. There is a process of getting that into this country. You know, and this is what I mean about looking face to face with people who are making a difference.
It's the presumptions that people make about certain areas, certain types of people.
Yeah.
I think I've been very sheltered. I think after knowing you for a good few months, I think I've learned more than I've learned in a good few years, and I do firmly believe that I have been sheltered, and I'd love to speak to you a lot more. And like you say, you'll get back for your White Files, which is Carol's visual podcast that goes out every Monday. So
we're going to take a snippet of this and put it in the show on Saturday as well, you know, and then you and I will chat. And given that things are lifting slightly, we could even have a mocha together.
I know. Ooh, you never know.
I'm excited. Hey, I'm excited. Well, thank you very much for your time now, though, Professor Bell. I see how cut the middle first name out there.
Yeah.
Hey, wonderful, absolutely brilliant. Oh, do you know, stories are amazing. Stories are amazing. There's loads of new stories out on Netflix, on Prime, and all stuff like this. What are you watching?
Behind Her Eyes.
Schitt's Creek. Which
Behind
is what
Her
my
Eyes
career's been for the last
Wait
year.
till what Hayley says.
Oh yeah, Hayley mentions it in this. Let's check out what's on the box.
Hi, I'm Hayley and welcome to this week's On The Box. How's everyone doing? What have you been watching? Now, I was really pleased to see that Catherine O'Hara has won a Golden Globe for her portrayal as Moira in Schitt's Creek. Now, if you're like me and you've been watching that series and you've finished every single episode and you might have even started to watch it again because you're missing that TV hug, do give Working Mums a go. It's also on Netflix. It's a Canadian comedy also, and there are about 5 series on there currently. It stars Catherine Reitman, who also created the show, and lots of other really strong female leads. They had me at episode 1 when they took the mickey out of misogyny in the boardroom. And it centres, the whole show centres around a mummy's support group. The other thing I watched recently is Behind Her Eyes. Do give it a go. Episode 1 and 2 were a little bit slow for me, but once I got into episode 3, I was hooked. And I have to say that I did not in my wildest dreams guess the ending of the whole of that series.
Pinch myself and say, I am awake. Look at my hands, count my fingers, stay calm.
It's absolutely brilliant twist. Do give it a go. And the other thing I watched was a Sky film called The United States versus Billie Holiday, and it stars Andrew Kay as Billie, and it follows Billie's career while the Federal Department of Narcotics
Get her off that stage.
well, basically set her up. Really. In a few weeks, Michelle Obama's new Netflix TV show will enter our living rooms, and that is supposed to help children build healthy habits. So I think that'll be an interesting one. Now that's it from me. I'll catch you next time. Take care. Now remember, stronger together. Bye.
Right, you see that Michelle Obama show?
Yeah.
You inspired in Michelle Obama.
I inspired Michelle Obama. Why is that?
Yeah, you see, she's doing that cooking show with a puppet.
All right.
Yeah, and I think she's seen that show, the shows that you did.
Where we had the goat.
Yeah, where you had the goat.
Milking it.
Yeah, and the chemistry that you have.
Yeah.
And Michelle's gone, hey up.
Well, you know, I like putting my hand in a puppet. Right then, let's move on then, because you know, you make a puppet, you think about sculpting it, don't you? You think about creating it. And one lady that, believe it or not, has created something very, very special in Manchester. And this is really good because we get to put a face to somebody that has created something so special. So of course it's the Pankhurst statue, isn't it?
Yes, it's the Emmeline Pankhurst statue. And I'll do my little anecdote again. So there was a massive vote, and there was 20 odd women. Who should we have the next statue? For over 100 years, we've not had a statue of a woman. And my aunt was one of them, my aunt Louise Dakakodia, and she was one of them. And she was down to the final 6. and she got beat by Emmeline. But you know what? She'd be all right with it. She's no longer here. Aunt Lou's not here anymore, but she'd be fine by it. And Hazel Reeves put her heart and soul, because she doesn't just call herself a sculptor,
No.
she calls herself a sculptor and an activist.
Oh.
And I don't think there's too many of those out there, which makes for passionate artwork.
Let's speak to her. Come on in. Hazel, hello.
Hi, Caroline. Hi, Belinda.
Hi.
Thank you for
And there it is behind you. I mean, not the actual statue, but what is that? That's the one that must have been in the library that I voted for.
No, this in fact is a 3D scan version of the real big Emmeline that's been sort of shrunk down and cast in bronze.
So how do you go about creating a statue that's going to have to be amplified and magnified to Manchester proportion, shall we say?
Well, you start off with a little one, of course, and then you have to decide how large it's going to be, what impact you want, and then you literally have to build like a stick out of steel that looks like a stick person, and then you add the clay on bit by bit. It's literally half a ton of clay that has to be added, and so then you finally get to the scale. And of course, I work with a model. And for me, I was very lucky to have Sarah Jenkins, and we worked in the studio for months together, and we know more about each other than anybody else does, I think, completely. So it was a real joy to do that. And then, of course, you have the foundry come along, they make a mould, and then they take it away up to London, in this case, and they cast her in bronze.
Wow.
It's fantastic, because I remember the day it was unveiled, and then I remember December the 14th, 2018. We must have had, 5,500 people?
Well, the estimates go from between 5,000 and 7,000. I mean, it was extraordinary, wasn't it?
It was massive. It was awesome. You know, Metrolink stopped the trams, thank goodness.
And why did you choose Emmeline then? What was your inspiration behind that? Why is she such a prominent figure to you?
Well, why I really wanted to sculpt Emmeline is she was such a significant figure in women's journey towards gaining the vote. And she had such courage, and she fought for women's rights despite often violent resistance. And she managed to engage women of all classes as well. So she had that strength, courage, dignity. I mean, what more could you want? So a real sort of hero of mine. And for me, statues should be catalysts. And you were talking earlier about the need to recognise the people who've gone before us, but also champion those current day Emmelynes. And that's what I wanted to do with the statue, is to say, this has got to carry on. This is going to inspire current day Emmelynes and future Emmelynes in order to, achieve equality. We're going to get there. We're going to get there.
And creating the statue, creating the statue in the way that it is, in the position that she stands, why did you choose that particular pose of the statue?
So I guess I was choosing at a time, 1908, 1909, the suffragettes were absolutely incensed because of the repeated political betrayal. We want the vote. Well, we will give it to you, after this, after that. And it never came. And so it was right. It's time for deeds, not words. And so that's when the suffragettes were going out on the streets. And literally what they would do would be ring bells on the streets, summon people out of their offices, out of their homes to come and listen to Emmeline speak. And the fight for Emmeline, somebody would grab something like a kitchen chair or a cart or a table, and up she would climb and address the crowds. And she would do that as she's here, arm outstretched, demanding that women rose up and demanded the vote. And so I think for me, I wanted people to sort of feel almost a crowd around her and to almost hear the crowds.
I think that's a perfect pose, because when I first saw the smaller version, what came to mind was the Statue of Liberty.
Okay.
That's what came to mind, because she's got an outstretched arm. you know, with the scales, and she's got the outstretched arm, and I just thought she's kind of like our Lady Liberty.
Holding the torch for Manchester, I suppose, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what it reminded me of. Obviously a bit smaller, but you've got another fantastic lady. Tell us about the next fantastic lady.
So the next one is for Congleton, which is not too far away, and it's to celebrate the life of the suffragist Elizabeth Wolstenholme Elmy, or Elizabeth, if you can't quite remember the whole of that name. But you'd really like her, Caroline, I think, because you describe her as having zeal and zest. She was overlapped with Emmeline, and she in fact helped them set up the Women's Social Political Union, the WSPU, and she was key for them. But she started much earlier. She was born in 1833, and without the likes of her and Emmeline, women wouldn't be obviously voting, they wouldn't be owning their own property and be able to keep hold of the money that they earned, and they wouldn't have the rights over their children. So actually Elizabeth was really key to many of the gains that women achieved. And she was, you know, a real radical, and she was shunned, including by some of the suffragists, because she was pregnant outside of marriage. She was very much a humanitarian, and she didn't believe in being owned by your husband. So I think you would have, you know, you'd really like her. So we're hoping
that sounds cool.
Next International Women's Day.
There you go. That's what I was just about to ask. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, we look forward to seeing that. We'll definitely get a crew down and get checking that one out, because if it's anything as good as your Emmeline Pankhurst, that'll be quite the sensation to see.
Yeah, we've adopted Hazel. Hazel's not really a Mancunian. She's there in Brighton somewhere by the sea. But
I am
but we've adopted her. We've adopted her, and I see her as you're a Mancunian sister, my girl.
Thank you. I mean, yes, I feel Manchester is my second home.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, thank you very much for your time today, Hazel. Thank you. Hazel with a statue. Eh?
Yeah.
Professor Bell with the wonderful stories. Eh?
Yeah.
Of course, we are slowly working up to our show on Saturday. And to give you an idea of what you can expect on Saturday, the co-host of Saturday's show has managed to put a little message together.
I'm Holly O'Neill. I'm an event management and production student at Access Creative College, Manchester campus. Last year, our lecturer, known as Zebra Carroll, organised the Manchester City Council International Women's Day Steering Group with the Walk for Women event that was supported by events, media and vocal artist students. We had an amazing time putting into practice what we had learned. This year, we have to deliver the event online, not a problem. Manchester City Council will be streaming from noon, and I'm inviting you to join us for our International Women's Day Celebration of the North show on Saturday the 6th of March from 1:30 with welcome from Dr. Helen Pankhurst MBE. Music, discussions, performances and poetry supported by NatWest and the Zebra Partnership, powered by Access Creative College and our broadcast partners, Your Manchester Media. The event will be live streamed from Your Manchester, Facebook, YouTube and Instagram. After the huge successes of past International Women's Day, I look forward to celebrating another one with you all. Although this one will be a little different due to the very current pandemic, it will be just as great of a celebration. So spread the word with our hashtag IWD North Celebration and tag at Your Manchester, at NatWest, at the Zebra Partnership and at Access Creative College. I look forward to seeing you all on Saturday the 6th of March.
Oh, that's going to be amazing then, isn't it?
Yeah, that's one of my students, Holly. And I've made a co-host.
You've got an amazing show lined up for Saturday.
Yeah.
It's going to be amazing.
It's going to be good fun.
It really is. All right, let's move on to our next guest then. This is Marie Boggiano. I think I pronounced that right.
You did.
I'm having more luck with that than the Rima.
I really think she should have some wine, like create some wine. I can see it as a fine wine. I've told her this before.
Boggiano.
I'm having a bottle of Boggiano. Anyway, Marie Boggiano. So she's a leadership lecturer at University of Salford, but she's also director of Lurig, which is a change management consultancy. She does a lot of things with Oak Ridge to do with leadership, and Oak Ridge is a training organisation, as well as the Alliance Manchester Business School. But she's not here because of what she does in that capacity. She's also a campaigner and an activist, and she was instrumental in putting together, working with Dr. Helen Pankhurst, the Greater Manchester for Women 2028 event on February the 6th. And we're going to want to talk to her about a recap on that, but also as well find out a little bit about what's going on with the Manchester City Council, International Women's Day, Strong Manchester Women, and what's going on this year.
Here we are, Claire Marie Boggiano.
There you are.
Here you are with your... Oh, she's got one better.
Oh,
she's got a rosette.
She's got a rosette.
You should have got me a rosette.
They're all, she's got them all.
Ah, you're looking very pretty tonight, Miss Claire Marie Boggiano.
I'll send two in for you.
Thank you very
that'd be
much.
fabulous.
I will wear it with pride because I am learning so much at the moment. Really.
Every day's a school day for Belinda, Claire Marie.
It is. Every day is a school day for me. I love learning.
Tell us about GM for Women 2028. What it was about and what happened.
So GM for Women 2028, it's actually a 10-year project, and as you've said, it's been led by Helen Pankhurst, and we're in year 3, and the idea is they are measuring important components around girls and women across Greater Manchester. So there are 5 elements that they measure: safety, participation, employment, education, and also culture and active lives. And there are 10 measures which make up this scorecard. And the idea is each year, over the 10 years, we measure it. And of course, once you start measuring something, things happen in that arena. So the idea is we make improvements for the lives of women and girls all over Greater Manchester.
Amazing. And how do we make things better for the women and people in Manchester, Greater Manchester?
Well, there's a lot to do. And Belinda, unfortunately, we've got sad news this year. So the measures that for 2 years weren't very good actually went down a little in the last 12 months.
Is that the pandemic?
It completely linked to the pandemic. So it really hasn't been good for women and girls across the whole of the UK, not just Greater Manchester. However, the fact that we're measuring it and getting involved, and we've hundreds of people across Manchester involved in this project. And this year we had input from Andy Burnham, from the local politicians, and from local councillors. And so the momentum is building, and we're hoping that we'll get some funding to really make this happen, because at the moment it is all built on volunteer time and volunteer effort. So we're 3 years into a 10-year project. So it's watch this space. And for people who want to get involved, we want more people involved.
Okay, and how would people get involved then?
The easiest thing is probably to go to the GM for Women 2028 website. And just go on a search engine and find that. And you'll find lots more background information about it. And you can register for the newsletter and leave your contact details and come along and get involved.
And that's GM, the number 4, then women, and then 2028. That's how
I was just writing that down. Of course, there's new fundings being announced within the next few weeks as well, particularly from a charity called We Love Manchester. So there might be something that perhaps together, collectively, people can do.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, definitely. And the Manchester City Council steering group.
Yeah.
So last year I came on here representing the group, having a chat to
and
Michelle.
Now look at you.
Yeah, now look at me. I've moved in. I've not even left. I think I've got the same dress on. There's my bed over there. So can you? Oh, she's so rude. Can you fill us in on what they've got planned, Claire Marie?
Yeah, definitely. And, last year, Manchester celebrated International Women's Day by having the Walk for Women. And that was the 3rd year of the Walk for Women and the most successful There were well over 2,000 people involved in the Walk for Women. I remember Arimna being dressed up with a whole group of her community group, and it was fantastic. This year, unfortunately, we're not allowed to physically walk for women, and certainly not that many people together at one time. So there's going to be an online experience that everyone can dial into. That's through Manchester City Council webpage. If you go on to the website, you will find a link on there. And from 12 noon on Saturday, the 6th of March, that's happening.
Yeah, and we're working side by side, aren't we? So that when that one finishes at 1:30, you come to the Your Manchester page, Facebook page, Your Manchester YouTube channel, and we start with our International Women's Day of the North. We bring in our Yorkshire sisters and North East sisters, and we've created a segment in there, which I'm quite proud of, called Soapbox Sisters.
Yay!
And I've dragged Claire Marie kicking and screaming to be my guest host for Soapbox Sisters. So you're ready for that, Claire Marie?
Definitely. It's going to be a whole day, you know, so it's great. And there's so much happening across Greater Manchester and across the Northwest for International Women's. It's not even International Women's Week anymore. It's like International Women's Month.
Yeah,
and just
definitely.
Out of interest then, why is it so important to you to celebrate this on the 8th?
Well, there's lots of reasons. I mean, if you look at the history of it, it really was for women to have a day to themselves and take a day off. A lot of it is also rooted in poor treatment of women in industry and to try and register that things aren't equal. I think International Women's Day was started over 100 years ago, and there's still a long way to go. So I think part of it is about celebration, but also part of it is about making a point. There's a long way to go on this journey of equality.
Excellent.
Definitely.
Well, unfortunately, that's all the time we've got for with you today, Claire, Marie. But we'll see you again on Saturday, which is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So look forward to it. We'll chat and get the wheels going. But you're doing a sterling job. Sterling just keeps me on track, don't you?
Oh, that's tricky. That's a trick in itself. Keeping you on
Isn't it
track.
just? Hey, try doing 45 minutes with her, I tell you.
Oh,
That sounded wrong, didn't it?
Oh,
Hey? Right, anyway, so Claire Marie Boggiano. Now, of course, you said last year you were walking. What was the weather like last year?
Lovely. It was fine. You see, I was like out there and back in again because I was managing the whole thing at the library.
You were wrangling it.
I was wrangling, herding cats. I was herding cats.
Amazing. Let's have a look what the weather will be like this week.
Good evening everyone and welcome to this week's weather forecast with me, Paul Rudd. The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, and it's going to be a good week this week as well. There will be dry and sunny spells, cloud in a few parts, and it will get cold overnight time. So that means it's going to be a frosty start in the morning. So be careful of those cars, guys. Okay, that's the outlook. Here's this week's weather maps. Take a look at this. Thursday is looking cloudy with the temperatures of 7. Friday also looking cloudy with the temperatures of 6. But as we turn into the weekend right now, Saturday is looking sunny and cloudy with the temperatures of 7. And Sunday is looking sunny and cloudy with the temperatures of 7 as well. There is light at the end of the tunnel, guys. Keep strong and keep the faith. Love you all lots. And although it might be sunny, it's not quite shorts and t-shirts and hot pants weather.
Oh, right, so there we go. We're going to find out what the weather is a little bit. It's going to be all right, it's not going to be too bad.
Yeah.
Right, then, let's bring in our final guest.
Even
then.
if people walk around the block, really.
What?
People walk around the block with the weather. It's nice.
I'm doing 11,000 steps a day at the moment. in aid of prostate
That's very
cancer.
good.
That's what I'm doing, yeah. I know. Right then, so our final guest is a lovely lady. She's a performer-esque.
She is.
This is our Emma Mould. Hello, Emma. How are you doing today?
Are you there?
Okay?
Oh, hi.
Can you hear me
you've got a We can indeed. It's a different background to the one we've got in the VT. Have you? Have you moved?
Slightly. It is. Let me just. I am. Do you see me dodgy carpet there? How you doing?
We're all right,
we're all right, love. Right, let me do your introduction while you fiddle about with your camera angles, Emma. Honestly, I love her so much. So Emma Mould is a friend of the Zebra Tribe. She's performed at quite a few of our events. She is a singer, songwriter, and musician. But of course, that A word, she is also an activist. She says what she thinks, and you're choosing to challenge, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have been. And you know, sorry, Belinda, go on.
I was just going to say, what is it you're choosing to challenge on this particular wonderful moment?
Well, for a while now, I've been standing up for equality for women and raising awareness of violence against women, which is a massive, heavy topic. So I did a single called Press Red, and it sort of like unpacked issues around global violence against women, from all sorts of things, from FGM to child brides to domestic violence, arranged marriage, you name it. And so that was a real privilege and an honour. And so it's really nice to be on here tonight, because obviously going where I go and singing and talking about the things that are on matters of my heart, I'm not always met with a positive sort of like, I'm not always embraced, I think. And that's good, because, you know, I hope to engage with people that are not, maybe haven't had their minds opened to the inequality and injustices that women face.
They're uncomfortable to hear the truth, though, aren't they? They're uncomfortable to hear the truth.
Yeah. And there's so many people that they just get on with their lives, and they are beautiful people. They're kind. They treat women nicely, and they love people, and they believe in equality, and they want peace. And then you know, and they're the types of people sometimes where you have to say, well, actually, that's amazing, but this is going on here, and somebody needs to do something. So yeah. And then you get people that are oppressive, you know, people that are that oppress people that are part of the problem, with whether it's ignorance, whether it's opinions that need to just be changed and brought forward, you know. I don't know, it's a massive subject.
It's a massive subject, and it's a weird phrase, I hate this phrase, but you can't eat the elephant whole. But there are sections that you can campaign. I mean, I had to do a thing to camera about choosing to challenge, and one of the things I was talking about was the fact that people like to pull you, tag you, and involve you in their own agendas, when really you know what makes your heart beat, and you know what's passionate that you want to actually support and challenge. And you know, don't be pulled in a direction by somebody else. And like you say, when you're sat in front of an audience or whatever and you're talking to them, that they are uncomfortable about it, but sometimes they need to hear the truth. So I mean, one of the songs, because I know about Press Red, and I know it's about DV, isn't it? Domestic violence. But I want to pull you to the lockdown. Okay. And I want to ask you two questions. And one question is, you know, how are you coping? Because I know with performers and the lockdown, how are you coping because of the lockdown and the pandemic? And what nugget, what glass half full did you take from this time lockdown?
Wow, it's been hard, it's been challenging, and I've not gonna lie, I've had to pull from deep within to try and continue and to have the courage to keep like releasing songs and singles, and because I had an album to release, which I've ended up releasing singles, and I'm just postponing releasing the album until lockdown finishes. But one of the most amazing things that's definitely happened to me is I connected online with a friend called Rachel McFarlane. She's a singer. And well, this is just one example of lots, connecting with other artists and actually getting some time, be it over Zoom, just to sort of be vulnerable and talk about matters of the heart. So I've chatted with Rachel, and it turned out we both had a very kindred spirit and a kindred, you know, ideology around the issues of women and equality, which you never know, because we're saying this to you, Carol, that you don't always know like what people think. I've often spoken to other people just expecting people to believe in equality, something so simple. Yet people are like, no, you know, actually, I don't believe women and men are equal, and I don't think we should. And I'm like, and that's quite a challenge because the people I respect. And so, yeah. So anyway, it was a delight because it was like, oh, wow, Rachel's like really forward thinking. And anyway, we began to work together and we started to collaborate. And hopefully, in this not too distant future, we've got a couple of singles we're working on together.
And two divas together.
That's amazing. Yeah, I'll tell you.
She's amazing. She is amazing.
Amazing. Emma, we're going to have to wrap it up there, but we are going to play your song now for you. So let's have a listen to. Thank you very much, Emma, for your time today. This is Press Red, and this is from Emma Mould.
This song's called Press Red.
That which was meant to remain. Don't take her out. She was chose to birth this seed, not suffer without. And the world's running red and it's gonna set. World's running red, left so many dead. And the world's running red and it's gonna set. World's running red, left so many dead. And the world is running red. Don't look away. Hear her voice and end up pain today. Don't look away. All their cries now heard to change the way. 'Cause the world's running red and it's gonna set. World's running red, left so many dead. And the world's running red and it's gonna set. World's running red, left so many dead. And the world is running red. It's running dry. Lights go by. Running dry. Cries go by. Running dry. Don't treat her so. She's worth more than rubies, money, silver or gold. Don't break her heart. It beats life around this world. Her given part. The world's running red and it's gonna set. World's running red, left so many dead. And the world's running red and it's gonna set. World's running red, left so many dead. And the world is running red. It's running
Powerful.
All of our panel that have stayed on with us, they're all clapping.
Yeah. That was
Beautiful.
fabulous. It was fabulous. I'll do this quickly.
Yes.
We've got a competition. Okay, the deadline is March the 8th, which is International Women's Day. It's what does choose to challenge mean to you? I want a picture, choose to challenge, and what are you choosing to challenge? What does it mean to you? The prize that we have is a book called On This Day She, which is brilliant. It talks about lots of different women, 365 different women, amazing stuff in that book.
Let's have a look at what the book's all about. Go.
And also with that prize, that's amazing, is the DVD Making of a Militant, a story about Emmeline Pankhurst with Sally Lindsay. Sally Lindsay's in that.
Cracking.
And also you'll get a suffragette rosette. And
I want one.
Yeah. And a box of heroes, because you're all heroes.
Yes, indeed, we all are. But that is unfortunately all we've got time for on today's show, everybody. So a big thank you to all our guests. We've got the Professor Bell. Oh.
Professor Emma Bell.
Thank you. Also, a big thank you to Hazel Reeves, Emma Mould, and of course, Marie Boggiano as well for joining us today. And a big thank you to you as well. You're looking forward to Saturday.
Yes, Tam Muchley. I've got a range of T-shirts to be wearing with slogans to empower and inspire.
So that's on our Your Manchester channels from what time?
From 1:30, music, chat, poetry, all sorts of stuff going on, and high energy, because we need it.
Exactly. All for International Women's Day.
All for International Women's Day and Women's History Month.
Although every day, in my opinion, should be a Women's Day. Let's face it. All right then, ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much. I'll catch you all next week when I'm joined in studio by the wonderful Mr. Brandon McCaffrey. As well as that, we have got an exclusive interview with the CEO of Manchester Pride Festival. That's Mark Fletcher. We're also going to be talking to Mr. Lepori from the Lib Dems, everybody. Oh, yes! It's that time now where we all start focusing on who we want to run our lovely, lovely areas. Oh, yes. So stick around. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you next time, only on Your Manchester!